Yo guys, in today's video I'm going to bring you the best graphics settings for the most FPS in Season 5 of Warzone. Now as you can see here, I am in Ashika Island and I am currently getting around 200 FPS. Granted I am at the edge of the map, but now this is still very good considering there's been a lot of issues with performance and how the game runs recently in Season 4 especially. A lot of lag, a lot of stutter, and my settings should help clear that up for you guys. So I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to start with the NVIDIA control panel settings on the desktop, so let's get right into it. Okay, so firstly guys, I'm going to do the NVIDIA control panel settings. Here I'm on the desktop. If you're on Windows 11 like me, you're going to want to right click the desktop, click show more options and then control panel. Once this loads up, you're going to want to make sure you have your brightness on contrast as well on 55%. I don't use any filters in game, so I use digital vibrance, which brightens up the game. This is personal preference of course, but it doesn't take away any performance. So if you want to add some color to your game, make sure you have these settings on right here. Once you've done that, you're going to want to click on manage 3D settings. I'm not going to go through these individually, but you guys can copy, scroll through at your own pace. So here we go, I'll scroll through. And that is it for the NVIDIA control panel settings. Next, I'm going to get into the in-game settings and I'll load that right up now. Okay, now that I'm on the game, you're going to want to come up to the cogwheel here, click on settings, click on graphics, and here is my display tab. Now, firstly, you're going to notice that I am on borderless. I only play on this because I stream and I am tabbing out a lot of the time. To have the least input lag, you're going to want to have this on exclusive. Now, like I said, if you stream or you tab out a lot, borderless is nice, but exclusive gives you the least input lag, so make sure it's on that. Next, you're going to want to make sure your refresh rate is set to your monitors so that it matches the refresh rate. Usually this is on 60 by default. A lot of people have better monitors like 144 Hz, so make sure it's on the correct refresh rate. Mine is on auto. It should be on auto with the NVIDIA control panel settings that I gave you guys, so anyway, just double check that. And you're going to want to scroll down and there's a new setting that has been added and it is called eco mode. Now as you guys can see here, it basically is a power saving feature. It says it doesn't impact performance, but let me tell you guys, it absolutely does. Make sure this is disabled. It usually starts on minimal. Some people might have it on full, but yeah, you're going to want to disable that guys. It's going to impact your frames a lot by trying to save power. So anyway, turn that off, that's a big one. And that is the rest of the display tab. Let me go on quality. Now, to get more frames from my rig, I stream to two platforms, TikTok and Twitch. So I also have a 1440p monitor, but what I do so that it is not a native 1080p is that I put it in 1440p, but I downscale the resolution to 1080p. It makes it look a little bit better. And gives you the good frames, so try that out guys. If it doesn't work, obviously just downscale to 1080p default, but for me that works. Then I play on Fidelity CAS. Again, you can put on DLSS, try and see if that gives you some more frames, but for me, I didn't notice any noticeable difference when I enabled that, so but you can give it a try. I want to make sure this is put to 100 by the way for more sharpening. And aliasing T2X, put this on low and make sure your memory scale is at 80. Now for the rest of it, you guys have probably have a misconception that you have to play on low graphics to have the best frames. That is not the case. Of course, if I play on high graphics on everything, I will have lower frames, but some of these settings you can see I've actually put on normal instead of like low or very low. You don't have to have your game look like a potato for frames. So I'm going to scroll through these guys and you guys can copy. And here we go. I'm going to highlight the on-demand texture streaming. Make sure this is turned off guys. This is going to download stuff as you play. So definitely make sure this is off. Another big one is the shadows. I usually, like I just said, I don't have everything on low, but for shadows, you're going to want to put this on very low. This is a big hit on FPS if you have it enabled, or high. Now, this is like a personal preference one, of course, but for an in-game advantage, there's no reason to have the blur on either of these. I would turn it off for both. It makes the game look better and also doesn't impact your visual as much. So definitely turn these off. Then we're going to want to go to view. Now, I play on 120 FOV. I feel like I can see a lot more, obviously, with more FOV on 120, so this is why I play it. But obviously this is going to impact your performance because you're rendering in a lot more. So you could lower this to 105, 110, but ultimately I play 120. I would advise 120, but if you want some more frames, definitely try and lower it a little bit and see if you can get used to it. For the rest of these, I'm going to scroll through, or don't have to scroll through, but here is the rest of them. Just copy those guys. And now I'm going to back out and go to the interface tab. Now this is for console players mostly, PC also, but there's not much you can do on console. But one thing I have done in the past when I was on console was I used to come here and go to color customization and put the color filter on 2. Now again, this is preference, but for me it brightens it up a little bit. So you're going to want to put the filter 2 on. Get this to both, or just world if you don't want it on the menus. Put it on both, and then set the intensities here to 100. And also, what I do is change the colorblind to deuteranopia. Now, this is again preference, but again, it adds a little bit of color, the world, and also the minimap, as you can see. That is default, and here is deuteranopia. Now, again, it's preference, guys. You do not have to do this, but it's just to brighten the game up a little bit for the console players. That is something that you guys can do. Other than that, here's the rest of the interface options. I get a lot of questions on this one about the dot in the middle of my screen. How do you get the dot? Here it is here, center dot, put it on and then set it to larger. I think by default it's on default, right? So that's to clear that up. And that is pretty much it for the graphics settings, guys. As you've seen, I had 200 frames, even though I was on the edge of the map. Still very impressive considering how poor Warzone can run. If you guys found the video useful and it improved your frames, please remember to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know how it went, and also subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.